Good evening, everybody. It is Monday night, and as you can see, Live with Johnny is not live this week. We are going to air a special. We did an interview with Mayor David Cassetti of Ansonia. It is not only informative, but it is super funny. A lot of good laughs and a lot of good things that are happening in the Valley. So I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Give it a chance. Check him out. He's doing a lot of great things in Ansonia. So we do want to say thank you again to the mayor for coming on and agreeing to do the show. He's a very candid guy, answers every question you ask him, and he's not afraid to talk to you. And I wish more politicians would be just like him. So here it is, our interview with Mayor Cassetti. Enjoy. See you next week.
From the riot at the Dog Park Studios, it's Live with Johnny. And now, here's Johnny.
All right, so tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on Live with Johnny, live from the riot at the Dog Park Studios, I scored a big interview tonight, Kirk Michael. The mayor of Ansonia, Mr. David Cassetti. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
No, we couldn't be any happier to have you. Well, so you don't know much about the show, but we don't do much politics on here because I try to keep everything. Right. I try to be the escape from all of that stuff because, as you know, the world's a crazy place.
Sure.
So, but when I see great things happening and when I see good people doing good things, I like part of my show is not only me being a smart ass and breaking stones, but it's also highlighting. I'm a Valley boy, sir. So you wear it like a badge of honor. So when you see people doing good things, it's like one of those things where somebody can call my brother a jerk. But I mean, I can, but they can't. So it's that's how I feel about the Valley. I'll say what I want about the Valley, but if you're not from the Valley, don't talk about the Valley.
Right.
I wear it like a badge.
Right. Yeah.
So let's get right into you first being the mayor, and then I got some other cool stuff I want to get to. But
sure.
The first question, I've been thinking about what my first question was going to be.
Okay.
And this goes for both sides on politics. Why, sir, when somebody comes in, and you've been the mayor since 2013, why when somebody comes in and they start doing things that are so good and so prosperous and so great for the city, why do people always have to find some way to poo-poo the good things?
I have to tell you, in my case, it's jealousy. It's jealousy. People don't like me because of my way with people and the success of my administration. Okay, and it's a form of jealousy. I know that my opponents sit at meetings and pound their fists on the table and said, how can he keep being so successful? What's going on? We got to stop him. So that's what they do to try to upset everything.
I get that everybody, and of course, with especially the last two elections, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm this, I'm that. But if those people live in that town and they raised their children in this town and their family grew up in this town, one would like to think that they'd be super happy about, and the word I stole from another article is the renaissance you're bringing Ansonia through.
Correct.
I mean, just breaking news I read today, you guys are getting an opera house?
Yeah, the opera house. Listen, our main street is probably the best main street, not only in the Valley, but outside the Valley. We have a quarter mile of stores and shops and everything. And that opera house has been like just sitting there. It had, commercial stores on the bottom, but it was empty. And I said, you know what? Why don't we take it to another level and make a deal with the owner of it? Because he don't have the funding like we can get, with my staff to refurbish it and get it back to useful purpose. I mean, it's a wonderful building. It's older. It's probably going to take a lot of money to refurbish it. But, with my staff and who I have on my staff, that's what makes this all possible, because we'll be able to get the funding that we need to refurbish it.
And clearly the people are all for it. And when you keep mentioning your staff, it's very hard in this state to have a pretty much all Republican ticket go ahead and win an election. So how you guys pull that off?
Well, John, let you know that I am outnumbered here in Ansonia, 7-1, Democrat Republican. You know that.
No, I didn't know that.
There is no Republican. Now, mind you, Republican first selectman or mayor in the entire state of Connecticut that wins the way I win. And because I am outnumbered. Yeah, Loretti wins by 60, 70% in Shelton, but they're all Republicans there.
Right.
The Seymour first selectman wins big. They're all Republicans there. Over here in Ansonia, I'm outnumbered 7-1, the ratio, okay? And I win with 80, 90% of the vote because I'm original person. Listen, this town has been run by, if you heard the saying, the good old boy network for 125 years before I came. Democrats and Republicans, don't get me wrong. I'm not focusing on Democrats. They ran this for themselves to benefit themselves. I'm a completely different creature. I'm a sewer contractor. I'm not a politician. I came from the sewer business, and I ran in 2013 because a town I was born and raised in, and I am the first mayor born in Ansonia.
Oh, no kidding.
I was born in a house on South Street. Wow. And I never left the city. I raised my family here. I ran my business here. I did everything here in Ansonia. And I saw how bad it was getting. There was no functions. The departments were out of loop. Things were not good in town here. And then they hit us with a 13 mil increase. My taxes in my house were $6,000. They went up to $9,000. I said, that's it. I am done. I am jumping in. I'm running for mayor. I said, this town has been mismanaged for decades. And I saw the decay of this town. And I said, you know what? There's a new sheriff in town. I'm taking over. I have to take over. And I went right to the people. I knocked on almost 5,000 doors my first election and every subsequent election after that. I don't sit on my keister. I'm out knocking on doors, talking to people. And I got the support of all the people in my town.
And what that tells us is being outnumbered 7-1 is everybody can say what they want to their friends and their neighbors, but when they pull that curtain, they're circling Cassetti.
Right. That's right.
They know it's the right thing to do.
Exactly right.
And that's why they didn't run anybody against you the last election, because they knew.
That is amazing. This is a Democrat town. You don't have a candidate. The Democrats don't have a candidate to put up against me. Holy cow. That's never happened in the history of Ansonia. They've always run. And I heard in the past, talking to the Democrats, we will always run a candidate. We will always run a candidate. It in this time. I don't know. Whatever. I'm a fighter. Listen, me, I believe that I was upset that I didn't have an opponent, though my staff was happy. But I said, wait a minute, you don't win a title unless you have an opponent. You got to have an opponent. Put somebody up. Do something. But they didn't do anything. They thought they were going to take the board of select aldermen and run with that. But I focused on the row B team, and I went out knocking on doors for my alderman, and we all won in a landslide.
Well, the election before that, you went over by 1,000 votes, and then they don't even want to run you. Listen, they knew there was a freight train in their way. But since you're the longest serving Republican mayor in Ansonia, and just to name a few things, first of all, Wakely Ave is as beautiful as a street as you will find, and your downtown, if anyone from the valley or outside can't go to that place on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night and find a good meal, they are out of their mind.
Space.
Yeah. Some of the best food around is in Main Street in Ansonia. I don't care what anybody says. Yes. And some of the best nightlife, too. I mean, I'm not young anymore, but if I was.
Well, that's why we're getting an ice cream shop. I've been talking to Libby over at Crave to see if she can open up a cheese and wine place for people to go. I also want to try to get a pastry shop down here for like a bakery. That's one thing we're missing here. And I got a lot of irons in the fire talking to people about it. I'm always working. I'm here 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, getting things laid out on what I want my staff to do to delegate them in the morning when they get here. And I'm here until 8 o'clock at night. I go home, I eat, talk to my wife, and then I go to bed, and then I'm up again. And I do that 7 days a week. It's Saturdays and Sundays too, because I got to prepare. You got to be prepared and to advance the city. You can't sit back and with your feet up on the desk and not doing anything. I've been in here and I've seen the last 7 mayors that were in Ansonia, and when I used to come into their office to talk to them, their desk was completely clean. All that was there was a telephone and a pen. And if you look at my desk now, oh my God, my staff yells at me and they say, Mayor, come on, what are you doing? Man, people come in, they're going to say, hey, I know where everything is. Leave it alone. Don't touch it.
I was reading some. I went back to some Facebook stuff and some like Valley Independent stuff just to get some background. And there's always
Right.
2 or 3 or 4 people being like, "Well, why does he have to say this or why does he have to do this?" But then the plethora and most of the comments come out of nobody has worked harder for this city than this guy. Why you guys got to break his stones? And it's
Right.
because of your personality, like you said. It's because you don't tap dance. I don't think. I think you just
Oh,
say
no.
it. You say
No,
it how
my
you see
staff,
it.
I got to tell you something, John. It's like I'm going in, when I make comments, it's like I'm going into the principal's office. They'll call me, my staff, get in here. Give us your phone. I'm like, here I am back in the principal's office. Here, what I do now?
Somebody block that man's Twitter right now. Well, just even the buildings where I see you're making into affordable apartments and
Not affordable, market rate. There's
Market
a
rate?
difference. You got to make sure because I've got a lot of developers calling me wanting to take over these old buildings and make affordable housing. I don't want to do affordable housing. And some people will say, and my staff will say, well, don't say that because you're going to turn off some of the voters. No, listen what I'm doing. Listen, I started what's called scattered sites. I went to HUD and I said, listen, them Olson Drive property was all block buildings. I always felt they insulted people of color. They put them all in condensed one area. Not good. I want to do scattered sites throughout the city. How many do I got to have? You got to have 50 of them. Well, I got 120 of them, and they're scattered throughout the whole city of Ansonia, people with Section 8 and different stuff. Because I don't want to put in a group cluster of affordable housing. I want market rate apartments. I want many business people and professionals to come and live here, and then they can go on the train down to work or up north or down south. I mean, this is what I want. So I started these scattered sites. They went for it. I went to Hartford HUD. I talked to them about it, and they said, "Sounds like a good idea. We'll do that." And that's what I did. And then I took down the rest of them buildings. Now I got a sports complex coming in.
I was going to get to that in a minute. But
okay, all right. Well, go ahead. I'm just letting you know about the scattered sites. I'm not doing affordable housing where they're condensed in one area. No, I'm not doing that. Not in this town. We're done with that. Right. I've already got 30% of that.
That's awesome. And that's why you keep winning, because you're not just a guy who cares about one thing or the other. And right. I just was reading a nice article about the state funding for education where you're saying, listen, don't forget about our kids in Ansonia. Don't forget about the lesser in the state.
Our state representative is not fighting for us up in Hartford. She's terrible. She's not even from this area. She's from Seymour, but yet she lives in an apartment in Ansonia, doesn't pay 1 red cent in taxes to the city of Ansonia, but yet you want to shortchange us and you want to tell us how to spend our money. Get the hell out of here. I said, I want taxpayers. I want people who have a place in the game, all right, to make the decision, not her. I mean, they shortchanged us $4.5 million last year, the year before, and the year before. And I told them guys at the state, I want that 4.5 million, and I want the back of all the money from the past. I want all of it. You got a $900 million surplus. Fork over the money that you shortchanged. All the affluent towns down the line got 100% funding, 100%.
That's what I was going to say. I read that. Of course,
a distressed community, we get nothing. We get a chicken feed. Get the hell out of here.
And that's the problem with some of these politicians. And I don't want to name check anybody, and you don't have to talk about it. But
no, I don't.
I get angry with a guy like Chris Murphy who wants to complain and talk. But he lives in a beautiful brownstone down in D.C. and once in a while steps foot in Connecticut and thinks he's got a right to tell us how we're supposed to live our lives up here.
Yep.
But
that's not good. Not good. But whatever. Chris is a friend of mine. I like Chris Murphy. I didn't vote for him, but he's a friend of mine, and I could talk to him. But their ways are way off kilter. Even our state representative, real bad. Probably the worst. I've seen all the state representatives since the mid-'70s. She's by far the worst.
Yeah. Well,
she's not fighting for us. She should be there. She promised the firemen the fire school. We're going to get you to fire school. And then when she got elected, she said, "Oh no, I can't do it." Well, you screwed the firemen. Why would you do that? And to be honest with you, that fire school should have been here 15 years ago. We had the land, we had the contractor to do the job, they should have just funded it, and they didn't.
And then the governor promised it too. And I actually have a
Oh
good.
yeah, down in Derby, her and him.
I
both
grew up
promised.
I grew up in Seymour, and one of the fire chiefs in Seymour is a childhood friend, and I
Yep.
and I every year on the anniversary of the promise, he posts something and just says, "Hey, here we still
Yep.
are."
Yeah, here we go.
And I don't think they understand how important it is to have that fire school.
Gotta have it. It should have been here back in 2006. It should have been here. I saw that when I was in business. I said they got to grab that. They got to do that right away.
Well, he'll bring
And
it
they
up
didn't
again
do
when
it.
it's time to fight Stefanowski in
Yeah.
the race. But that's neither
Yep.
here. Circle back
Yep.
to the Olsen Drive thing. I was looking at the picture and the map today. This thing's going to be pretty damn cool.
Oh,
I mean-
it's going to be beautiful. Indoor soccer, indoor football,
That's
baseball, ice skating. It's going to be wonderful.
and that's going to be
Wonderful.
type of thing
I'm
where
really looking forward to it. John Geddes is ready to put a shovel in the ground. He's ready to go with it. So I'm hoping that he gets going probably in May.
that's amazing. And I read a comment today, not to say it again, but and again I told you before we started, it's going to sound like I'm kissing your butt, but listen, I'm interviewing the mayor. You got to talk about what he's done. Someone had the best comment that I read today. Mayor Cassetti, whether it's a playground, an apartment building, or a brand new business, he cares about all of it, and he makes sure it all gets done, and he makes sure that it's what the people want. I mean,
Exactly.
that's probably one of the best compliments you can get.
Yep. That's a very good compliment. I appreciate that. I work hard. I'm not a 9-to-5 guy. I work long hours because it's my job. And my wife is supportive of it. She tells me, this is what you signed up for. This is what you signed up for. So you got to be there.
Well,
I'm at every function, every single function there is in the city. The only functions I'm not at are the ones I wasn't asked to come.
yeah, listen, you're not there for photo ops and just to hand out cards saying I'm the mayor. I mean, that's
Right.
that's not what you're there for.
Right.
I get lost sometimes, and I just lost
Yeah,
my
no
spot
problem.
where I was at. Derby had to shut down their football season. They don't have enough kids. I keep hearing about the regionalization. Is this ever going to happen so the kids don't have to miss out on sports?
John, I am disgusted with Derby. To the south of me, I got desolate Derby. To the north of me, I got status quo Seymour. These are two towns. They don't want to do nothing. Derby is taking it political. Trust me. They don't want nothing to do with Ansonia. They'd rather go with Shelton. But I find it hard to believe that Shelton will take them on. But Derby doesn't want anything to do with Ansonia. I'm trying to combine the senior center. I'm trying to combine the education system because it would benefit. And they'd probably knock about 4 or 5 mils off our tax rate.
It makes so much sense.
We'll get funding from the state. It makes no sense. But what it was a 5-man board commission decided the fate. I said, you chumps, you should have brought this to the voters of Derby and Ansonia. And I guarantee you, had you done that, they would vote overwhelmingly to combine. I know they would. I talked to a lot of Derby residents. Derby is mismanaged. Don't get me wrong. Zeke is a good guy, but he plays to all them. Oh, I don't want to piss off the Democrat. I don't want to. Hey, tell them to go take a hike. Do it and shut up. That's what you got to do. I mean, you need to combine.
Don't they care?
Nice.
Don't they care about a senior who loves football, was not able to play, had his whole season canceled? What if he's being looked at by a college? What if this is all he has in life? What if he comes from a bad home and football is his escape? All these factors. But even so, it's not good for. Are they just trying to hold on to the Red Raiders? God forbid the Red Raiders go away. I mean, there's got to be a happy medium somewhere.
I tried to talk to Coach Brockett in Ansonia last year. He said it's a little too late. You got to do it in May. That maybe we should take some of the Derby players and let them play for Ansonia. I mean, I told him that, but it was too late to do that. So you couldn't do it.
It's too bad. And I live in Naugatuck now, and we go through the same thing with like the Peter J. Foley and Union City crowd, where rather than have 2 separate leagues, we just need to join so that it could be better. But sometimes hard heads prevail. Let me ask you a question. How come they don't have to take it to a vote? How come those 5 guys get to make that decision?
Because that's the way the state set it up. The state funded $186,000 to do this stuff for the regionalization. All right, this program. And they said 5 from Ansonia and 5 from Derby. And if it's a tie, it's tossed. And it was a tie. 5 from Derby said absolutely not. and 5 from Ansonia said yes, and they voted it down. So it ended. The regionalization committee ended. I mean, I had some great people on there. Josh Sheward, who's running for state representative, he is a professor and he is a very aggressive person, fights for the city. I mean, there was him, Dr. Adamowski, who was the superintendent of Cincinnati, Ohio schools, Jeez. Hartford public schools, Norwalk public schools. He lives right here in Ansonia, and he's on my board of aldermen right now. And he was on that committee, and he was in favor of all this. He knew all the ins and outs. The Derby, the 5 in Derby, honest to God, they were dunces. They were negative from the beginning. Oh, we don't want to do anything with Ansonia. I heard a few of them say. And I'm saying, their minds are clouded. They're bad.
Just because it's Ansonia. Just because it's Ansonia.
Right, they don't like it. They got something against Ansonia. Look, you got to see the fight we're having with the trying to get the seniors to combine Ansonia and Derby seniors. Holy cow. They're asking for the world. Get out of here. I mean, everything's going to be fair. We're going to split it down the middle. That's all. Nobody's trying to take advantage of anybody else. You got to hire all our people, and you got to give us a discount here. What are you talking about? If it costs $100,000 to run, you pay $50 and we pay $50. That's normal. Oh, no, we don't want that. Hey.
Well, you know what they say, common sense isn't so common anymore.
Oh, so. No, not in Derby. There's no common sense in Derby.
It's, I don't know. I don't want to say anything bad about them, but I mean, it's Derby.
Yeah.
My mother grew up there, so she'd slap me in the mouth.
My mother's a Derby girl. My mother, born and raised in Derby, came here when she married my father in 1948, and now she lives in Ansonia. But her family's a big Derby clan.
You just figure they would want to do what's best for the youngs,
of course,
the middles, and the olds, and it is. I don't know. I mean, Ansonia's lucky to have you again. You're winning 7-1. Before we get to the fun stuff and the laughing stuff, one question: you've been mayor since 2013. What's the one thing if you had one thing on the mantle and said I did this, what would it be?
It was to when I first took office, my first month in office. I was going to say business, but anyways, Farrell's came to me and they said we're moving to Topeka, Kansas, and I said, wait a minute. You're moving to Topeka, Kansas. You've been here for 165 years. I mean, you made cannonballs for the Civil War. Jeez. You want to pack up after 160 year being here in this town? You want to move to another area of the country? Well, we own the property. We want to buy the property up on the Fountain Lake, but we need an access road. I said, okay, you need an access road. I'm a road builder. I said, listen, how much do you think you need? I mean, they needed like $2 million. So I went to the state, DECD, and I went to the federal government. I talked to Rosa DeLaura and Richard Blumenthal. I even took trips down to Philadelphia 3 times to Philly, to the Economic Development Department. And then I went to Washington, right to the office of Senator Blumenthal, right to the office of Rosa DeLaura. I said, we need this money. You want to retain businesses in Connecticut, and you represent Connecticut. We need this business to stay here, and they got us the $2 million. Them and the state got us the $2 million, and we were able to build the road. And then Farrell's came to me and said, "Okay, we're staying, and we're going to build a state-of-the-art facility. You got to see it from every hill in Ansonia. It's a hilly area, really? Ansonia. Coming down every hill in Ansonia, you could see their beautiful." Headquarters,
and that probably
so they stayed.
That probably protected and kept hundreds of jobs right there in Ansonia.
Absolutely, no question about it. I mean, yeah, because everybody was leaving. What are you talking about?
I remember
we're not going anywhere. I'll do whatever I got to do.
And then,
of course, in Shelton, we had better packages. They came to Ansonia using the tax incentive program that I helped draft under the previous administration. Under the previous administration, I was on Economic Development Committee, and I wrote the tax incentive program for people wanting to come to Ansonia, businesses. But the former administration looked at it and said, we're not using that. As soon as I took office, I said, we're going to use this tax incentive program, and I used it for better packages. Phil White will tell you. He's the owner of it. And I enticed him to come right to Ansonia. with that tax incentive program. It was the first one ever to be used.
That's awesome. Listen, jobs. The
Yep.
Valley needs jobs. The Valley needs a lot of things. All right, let's get to the funny stuff. I was scrolling through your Facebook, and Kirk, I don't know if you saw this, but Mayor Cassetti did a Karate Kid spoof thing. Did you see it on his Facebook? Your sense of humor is right up there. I mean,
Oh yeah, listen, the guys, people that sat in this chair before me, they were a bunch of deadheads. They didn't do anything.
stiff shirts, man.
I gotta,
Stiff shirts.
I gotta entice the kids. I gotta get everybody included here.
Yeah, your Facebook page was something else, and even with the Ansonia football team, the funny thing with the kids flipping over the table, and you're out there,
Yep.
and you're out there. And one of my guests when we first started the podcast back up, I had Mayor Pete Hess of Naugatuck.
Yeah, good guy.
It was a week before the NVL game, and I tried to get him to make a prediction. He wouldn't do it, and he says, "Oh, Mayor Cassetti's my friend. That's between him and I." And then you guys go on PLR, and you made the bet. And then you guys, I was telling Kirk, had to sing as Sonny and Cher. Loser had to be Cher.
I got you, babe.
Oh, you guys are hysterical.
I had to be Cher because I lost.
Well, listen, 100 games in a row is not an easy thing to do either. Oh, was it 103?
That's never been done before.
How come Ansonia football? I grew up in Seymour. I went to Seymour High School. Why is Ansonia football so good every year?
Because it's in our blood. Honest to God, we start with the feeder program, John. We start with a feeder program that starts. Listen, my son Dave, I don't know if you watched him. He started when he was 7 years old in the feeder program and worked all through Pop Warner, and then he went to high school. Now he's starring. He's one awesome player. One awesome player.
That's awesome. Where's he playing now?
With the feeder program.
Where's he play now?
Plays for Ansonia High School. Watch him this year, John.
What's he play?
He's a linebacker and a safety, and he's a running back. He got all NVL.
I'm going to
be on April 9th. We're going up to West Point. West Point's interested in him.
No
They
kidding.
want a strong safety.
That means he's an exceptional young man if West Point's considering him. I mean,
really good. He impressed the hell out of me. I was like, oh, I didn't expect this.
Well, part of my podcast when I'm not being a smart aleck is doing highlights on Valley things and people around in our community, and I'm going to highlight things, and so I'm going to be going to some of these football games and looking for this coming Monday night. I have a live show at Tuck's Tavern in Naugatuck with the Naugatuck football coaching staff.
Let me tell you, Chris Anderson. He reminds me, honest to God, I love that guy. He coached my son Anthony back in 2005 and 6 for Woodland Hawks that won 2 state titles. Chris Anderson is one awesome coach. He reminds me of Sean McVay, the guy who just won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
I'm telling you, when I look at him and his way, that's his demeanor. I said, that's Coach Anderson, man. That guy, Naugatuck is very fortunate they got him, man.
They are,
and
that's
a good coach.
And that's why we're going to spotlight him so they get the chance to know. Actually, my twin brother Robert was on the defensive staff of those teams.
Yep.
And those games were probably some of the most exciting high school games that I've seen.
No question about it. When my son Anthony played in 5 and 6, 2000, I'm going to tell you, I couldn't wait for Friday nights to come.
Oh, they were amazing.
Watch Coach Anderson's staff and that Woodland football team. They were awesome.
Just that one, I forget who they played, but the championship game at that field in Trumbull was just one of the best football games I've ever seen. It was amazing.
It was Bloomfield or Brookfield.
You're right. Look at the memory on this guy. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, that was an awesome game. And my son Anthony played a great game. Jeez. Great game, that game.
Yeah.
Shane Kingsley, who's now with Ansonia's coaching staff.
Yeah, and his brother Cody's on the Naugatuck staffs, two Woodland boys. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting Thanksgiving Day game this year. I want to see. We play in Naugatuck. We got to see what happens.
Well, Live with Johnny will be over there looking for their press pass when we get over there. We'll see what happens. But so let me ask you a question. Tell me about the Italian tank.
Yeah. There was a friend of mine, Angelo Giordano. You're the Italian tank. I said, okay. And he wrote it on my boots. I still got them boots. They're in my house. That there was the Italian tank. That's what we're going to call you. It's okay.
Yeah, but no joke.
Another friend of mine said, we'll call you Pasta Power. I said, go with Italian tank.
No joke. I mean, you're the Connecticut middleweight champion in 82 and 83. That's not easy to do.
Well, I got to tell you something. I was the last one to win it 2 years in a row because let me tell you what happens, John. I was 165 pounds, and a lot of the next champions that came along that won that title went up in weight class because they went to 175, which light heavyweight. So nobody's ever repeated. I did it in 82 and 83.
That's amazing.
And I boxed out of Naugatuck and Waterbury, the Lieber Athletic Club on South Main Street, and the Naugatuck YMCA with Joe Rossi, my boxing mentor.
Well, you were no joke. You were 49-6 in your career.
49-6.
That's
yeah. I was. Listen, I worked out. I attacked things. I attacked my business. I attacked my boxing career, and I attacked my political career, if you want to call it. I worked very hard because I want to win. I always want to win. I saw somebody said something. I don't know who it was back a few years. Isn't this mayor tired of winning? No, I'm not. I want to keep winning. I want to do what's right for the residents. I'm fighting for them every single day. I'm fighting for my residents.
I was just going to say, and I don't, and I'm going to, and I'll say it at the end. But tell me, did you really room with Mike Tyson?
Yes. If you ever come to my office, I'll show you my scrapbook and what's on the wall. Championship matches. He was in the light heavyweight division. Me, Mr. Rossi, Customato, and Mike Tyson were in the same room at the Swiss Chalet.
No kidding.
And I was more impressed with Customato because he was Floyd Patterson's manager and he was an elderly guy. And I heard so much about him. And I can remember me and Mike getting our hands wrapped. My manager was wrapping my hands. Mike's Customato was wrapping Mike's hands. And I remember him elbowing me. Customato said, watch this kid in a few years. This was in 1982.
That's awesome. Was he quiet?
Oh, yeah.
He was quiet
Mike
back
was
then.
only 16 years old. You know, and he was very quiet. He didn't talk much. He was very quiet. Customato did all the talking because he had him controlled.
Yeah, I saw that documentary. There was some crazy nonsense.
Yeah, he had him controlled. Mike didn't say much. Hi, and that was it. No conversation.
Well, listen, as long as you didn't have to throw hands with him, that's all.
Oh, exactly.
That's all that matters. Because
Exactly.
be nice to that guy.
Yep.
Well, to wrap it all up in a quite cute little a typo. You are a winner. Again, 7-1.
I try to.
I don't want to speak out of school, and I don't want to say anything bad, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. You tell me to shut up. But before 2013, before Mayor Cassetti comes in and he does what he does for the next 8-9 years, Ansonia wasn't necessarily a destination for some people to want to go to and or live.
Oh, no.
Am I correct in saying that you come in and now you got the restaurants? The people want to open a business in Ansonia. People want to live in Ansonia. People want to go to school. They want to play sports. I mean, you literally, when people use the word renaissance and revitalize, it's even more than that. It's I don't hate to say it, but you made Ansonia great again. I mean, am I wrong?
That's what a lot of my friends say. You made Ansonia great again. Listen, I want to be pro-business. I come from the business world, pro-business. When I first built my business down on Riverside Drive in Ansonia, they gave me so many obstacles to jump through. And I said, this is ridiculous. So when I came to office, there was this report made for $25,000, some report that the previous administration paid for. And when I was reading through it, it said that planning and zoning was an obstacle to economic development. I said, there it is. They were told this, that they're making that there's a problem, that they're not business friendly. They're anti-business. My opponents, even in the last election last year, the alderman candidates from the 5th district said they need to get rid of all them businesses on Riverside Drive. You just got Burns Construction. They're a $500 million company a year. They brought in $50 million in assessed valued equipment, 450 employees. Don't take my word for it. Go ask them. Go ask Kenny Burns. He'll tell you. And they made an immaculate location down on that 56 acres of heavy industrial zoned area. They've cleaned it right up. I rolled the carpet out for them. I said, let them in. I got people up in the hilltop area, not the hilltop, the upper area in that 5th district fighting them because of the noise. But there is no noise. They have water. They have soundproofing. They got everything. They got to follow DEEP's rules. Otherwise, they'll shut you down. And DEP has no problem with it.
Well,
So let them do what they got to do. You got to be business friendly, and you got to work with everybody. I'm a cultural guy. I welcome everybody: African Americans, Latinos, Asians, Polish people, Italian people, Irish people. I just had Irish flag raising, an Irish mayor for the day. I invented it. Every March 17th. I mean, welcome the Irish people to come in. I have Black History Month in February. I have a big ceremony upstairs, and I honor local African Americans that I pick to honor them for Black History Month. And I write a big story about it. I include everybody. I have Latino night. I want to include everybody. I don't want to just say, oh, well, he's Black, I'm not dealing with him, or he's Latino, I'm not dealing. I don't believe in that. Include everybody. I got them on boards and commissions. I got 15 boards and commissions. I have women, African Americans, Latinos, and Asians on them boards. I've been questioned by some Democrats. Why are you putting them on? What does that mean? I include all different cultures, and we are multicultural. Look at all the restaurants; they're all different. You got it from Asian cuisine to Latino cuisine to American cuisine to Italian cuisine to Bohemian cuisine to all kinds of stuff.
And what you're saying about being all inclusive, it shows because, like you said,
you have to.
When they pull that curtain back and you're winning 7-1, the people know what the right decision is. Right. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know when your next election's coming up, but I'm calling it now for you. So if you need me to,
I got to tell you something, John. I'm hoping I got an opponent. I hope they put somebody up. It ain't good to go. It's unhealthy to go without an opponent.
After seeing this interview,
without an opponent.
After seeing this interview, nobody's running against you. You're the right man for the job. And listen, if you need somebody to MC the ball or whatever, you just let me know. I'll be right over there. Let's say, sir, you've got a minute to a minute and a half, and I'm going to post this up, and your constituents are going to see it, your voters are going to see it, your residents are going to see it. If you could look them in the face and you just wanted to check in with them, what would you tell them?
Well, the people that are out there, I'm there for you, whatever you need, and you know that. I have in my drawer right here over 75,000 postums from phone calls that I got from my constituents in Ansonia needing help or support for something. And I've helped everybody out. I am batting 1,000. Everybody's got satisfaction guaranteed. I need housing. I need to get financial aid. I need to fill a pothole. I need a street sign. I need a light in my neighborhood because it's too dark. Everything gets taken care of. Everything gets taken care of. And that's something that I acquired when I became mayor. I spent 35 years in my sewer business helping people. So I was equipped. As soon as I came in this job, people got a problem. Let's take care of it. And that's what I like to do. I like to take care of people's problems, solve their problems, and get that's my satisfaction is. Well, that I know that I took care of everybody.
And the proof, the old saying, I hate to use it, the proof is in the pudding. You walk the walk, and you talk the talk, because obviously the results and the things are there. You're not just saying them. People can see the things you're talking about are actually there. They're actually built. It's actually happening.
Right.
And the only advice I would give anybody from Derby watching this is maybe elect Mayor Cassetti in Derby. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I get a lot of calls from people from Derby saying, I wish you would come over here.
We could spend another hour on how that just makes
so much sense. If I could go over there, I want to change the whole board of aldermen. I want my people on. I get accused, he wants yes people. Well, wait a minute. Of course I want yes people. What are you going to do? For 125 years before I came here, you had no people and nothing got done. So why, change the recipe. Give me all yes people so I can get the projects done. That's what I want. I'm not trying to do anything out of the ordinary.
Exactly.
That's it.
What
do you want from me? Yeah, he wants yes people. Of course I do.
Of course, you want people to say yes to progress, yes to bettering
John,
ourselves,
exactly.
yes to great things. You're not saying, hey, Mayor Cassetti wants to build an Ansonia mayor's mansion.
Right.
That's not what you're looking for. You're not looking for people
You
to
should have
kiss.
heard him. Then when I had to get a car, they said, "Oh, he bought a Mercedes." Yeah, okay. Big was all rumors all over Facebook. He's buying a Mercedes. What are you talking about? Where did that come from?
It's got to be the worst part of the job.
Yeah, that's why that lady would blame me for the traffic. Hey, get the hell out
That
of
has
here!
got. I'm glad you brought that up.
Something wrong with you, lady.
That's got to be the most nonsensical post of all time. As not people are going to know what we're talking about. There's a fatal accident on Route 8.
Exactly, a near fatal accident on Route 8. You want to politicize it.
Not only that, Ansonia, Seymour, parts of the down or back in there in Derby, Seymour, Roosevelt Drive. I mean, my brother was involved in it, Miguel. There was traffic you couldn't see for you. People were just getting out of their cars and cooking burgers on the side of the road because they're going to be. And this woman goes, "Nice for Mayor Cassetti to do this to our streets." Yeah, come on, yo.
Oh man.
I mean,
my staff said, "No, don't comment." I said, "I had it. This is horse shit."
don't people want to hear the truth? Don't people want?
Exactly.
Oh
no, I got tremendous support from the people in that. They loved it. Everywhere I go, they still bring it up and say, "Perfect."
The politicians that I vote for in my adult life are politicians that talk to me and do not talk at me. I don't want to be talked at. I want to be talked to.
That's what our current representative does.
Well,
our current representative that represents the Ansonia Derby, that's what she does. She talks at you instead of talking, with you. What can we do?
Yeah.
She talks down to you. She gets in your face. I feel bad for Sheila O'Malley, my economic development director. 25 years experience she has in municipal and federal government. Sheila has, and she's gotten us over $80 million in grants. I mean, she's worked for the Congressman Maloney for 9 years. She worked for the mayor of one of the biggest cities in Mike Georgiou in Waterbury. She worked for one of the smallest cities in Tony Staferi in Derby. Now she's working for me. She's got a wealth of knowledge. And this girl talks to her like she doesn't know what she's talking about. Terrible. We got to have a change in November. I feel in my heart, honest to God, there's going to be a reckoning. There's going to be a reckoning in November.
Well, you need help. You need help stumping for the good guy. You let me know. I'm coming out there because I know who you're talking about. I couldn't agree with you anymore. I'm not even going to mention her name because it's not worth it on my thing here. About your staff. Hopefully they watch this. I cannot thank them enough for being patient with us and for accepting it and getting you the message, Sheila and all of them. It was so great that they took the time out to even listen to me and for you to, and I reached out to you first. For you to be so opening, sir, thank you so much. If there's ever anything we can do for you, please let us know. Any
check out the football games.
We will.
Year, the Ansonia football team. Watch it.
Any fundraisers, information, anything important you need pumped out there to the people, you let us know. We would love to help you with anything. And I would love to, sir, sometime in the next 12 months to have you back on, see where we're at.
Absolutely.
And I hopefully, if I'm ever down in Ansonia, maybe hit the Italian pavilion for a Peroni and a slice. And you have my number.
Mario's a good friend of mine.
Oh, listen, since they were in the Ansonia Mall, that's the best pizza I'll ever have in my entire life.
Pizza slices. I remember they were 30 cents. I remember when they were 30 cents.
Please go over to Carmen's at Sports Stuff, buy some sneakers, or not Car. You know what I mean? B&L Men's Clothing over there. Sir, thank you so much. Good luck to you. Good luck to the town of Ansonia, city of Ansonia, whatever it is. I always forget. But sir, thank you, and it was great to have you. And again, thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you, and I hope to get on again.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.